Welcome to Horsing Around with Bonnie and Naomi podcast.
A podcast about our adventures exploring abandoned, haunted, and interesting places with your hosts,
Bonnie and
Naomi.
Welcome to this episode of Horsing Around with Bonnie and Naomi, our podcast. I want to thank everyone who has liked, shared, or downloaded our podcast.
If you haven't done so, please do subscribe, share our podcast. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channels.
Exploring with Bonnie and Naomi's Adventures. You guys might to redo that. Yeah, we are.
So, this is our 5th episode. We're recording it in the car as we're driving to explore. So, yeah, there's probably going to be a little bit of talking from other people that's in the car. So, yeah, we're horsing around like always. This is our 5th episode. In this episode, we're going to be talking about an abandoned nursing home that we went to visit. We are not going to give the location of the nursing home because we don't want to see it destroyed or damaged in any way. And just to let everybody know, we did not break in. We did not damage anything to get inside. We do not damage things when we go in. If the doors are not opened, there's no clear way in, we do not go in. We do not take anything. We do not spray paint anything, tag anything. We don't do that. We do no damage. The only thing we go in to do is document it, take pictures, take videos, and just check it out and see what's left behind. So, this nursing home, it was only open for, 20 years?
I think it was 20 years.
It closed in 2016?
The owners filed bankruptcy, yes.
Okay. And so this is located on a country road. We will say that because, there's a lot of country roads, obviously. We had found it just driving along country roads, and
as always.
Yeah, we had just randomly seen it, and we're like, whoa, what's that? And we were told by a person at a doctor's office that had been inside that we could get inside and there wasn't a problem with it because we had told him that we were doing YouTube videos, and so she suggested we go, so we went. When we went, we had somebody with us, so we have a guest on the episode. Introduce yourself.
This is our brother, Philip.
Welcome back, Philip.
Welcome back, Philip.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, usually we write out notes of things that we're going to say, but since we're in the car, we weren't really prepared, so we're just kind of flying by the seat of our pants here.
Like always.
So, Bonnie, what did you think of the nursing home?
I found it very interesting because how much stuff they left behind. I mean, if you filed bankruptcy, wouldn't you have auctioned off the equipment or sold it to raise money to help pay the bills you owe?
Yeah, I found that to be odd too because there was a lot of things left behind that I'm like, they could have sold that and they could have sold that. There was a ton of stuff. We're talking
wheelchairs, you name it.
There was a piano,
Blankets,
yeah, all kinds of furniture, dressers, desks. Philip, what did you think?
Yeah, that was kind of weird that they just left everything. There was even residents' old checkbooks and things there. It was kind of crazy, all the kind of stuff they left behind.
Yeah, there was, so this was technically mine and Bonnie's first time going into an actual place that is abandoned, and, It was really cool seeing the things left behind, because, like, we've seen so many YouTube videos of people that are showing all the things that are left behind, and I never dreamed that we would find something with this much stuff. I mean, we're talking, there was some food left in the pantry. What did we find, Philip?
There was all kinds of canned food and, medical records of people, everything still.
Employee records, employee information. There was photos in the box from the residents that live there.
It was almost like they left in a hurry and took some stuff but left others.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like.
Like a chaotic, like they left in a chaotic hurry or something.
Yeah, which is so weird because, like, if they filed bankruptcy, they wouldn't have had to hurry out. You wouldn't think they would have known. Whoa, what did it say? They gave the people's family 30 days notice that they were closing. So, I mean, they had 30 days to get out. They could have done a sale in 30 days. Let's see.
When you read about that, there's a home online that said it was the best quality care in this area.
Yeah, it did get a lot of good reviews. I didn't see, like, one complaint on the internet. When we looked it up, I didn't see one complaint about the place. Just a lot of good reviews, a lot of good comments about the place.
I think maybe that's because it wasn't huge, like a big, massive facility. It was a smaller one.
Yeah, there was.
Why? So, like, maybe they had better quality care because it was so small.
Yeah, there was less than 50 beds. I'm going to say there was less than 40 in that place. What was the coolest room? What room did you think was the coolest, Philip?
I don't know. The basement was, maybe. The whole basement was pretty interesting.
Bonnie, what was the coolest room that you thought?
I think the coolest thing was the kitchen. With the knives stuck in the door of the cupboard.
Yeah, knives in the cupboard door.
That was the coolest.
Knives on the floor in the kitchen. Like,
that was like
butcher knives.
Oh my gosh, are we in trouble?
Yeah, I walked in that room and I totally missed it the first time. Philip was like, "Did you see the knives?" And I'm like, "No, what knives?" And then I had to go back and I'm like, "Oh my gosh." For me, the coolest room was in the basement. They had it was, Bonnie, you remember the little room off to the side with that big, huge, it was kind of like a rusted tank. It was like this massive tank. And, it was like up in the air, kind of, because underneath of it was water, and there was like,
there was a pit dug with cement.
Yeah.
Like it was sitting in.
Yeah.
With water. It was kind of weird.
And in the water was videos floating and a few other things floating. And there was like a ledge where you could walk around it, but we did not. At least I didn't.
I did not.
I thought that was really cool.
That was my creepiest thing about it, was that room. I was really freaked out by that room.
Yeah.
That room and the whole place is what gave me the creeps. And I'm not saying it was haunted. I was just freaked out by that.
Yeah, I didn't get the haunted vibe there at all. Did either of you get a haunted vibe there?
No.
I kind of did about the kitchen.
Well, yeah, the kitchen with the knives. Let's see.
But I don't know, that big tank was very fascinating because I don't know what it was.
Right.
That was a water tank. That was the biggest water tank I've ever seen.
Yeah.
To hold water.
But
I can't understand what it would have been for.
It looked like in the one section of the basement they had water tanks, though. Don't you think? Those one blue tanks in that one corner?
Like water softeners or something like that.
Yeah.
So it's hard to imagine what that was for. It would be interesting to be able to find out now what it was for.
I was a little disappointed that. So in the one room, it was like kind of like a community room. I was a little disappointed that somebody knocked the piano over. It wasn't us that knocked the piano over. It was knocked over when we got there. Because there had been people there before we had gotten there, obviously. But I was a little sad that the piano was knocked over.
Yeah, that was disappointing.
I wish now that we had gone and sat it back up and then tried to play it.
Yeah, that would have been nice. But
Okay, so
there was a garage that had a whole bunch of people's files in it. That was interesting. Why would you leave those behind, especially if it has personal information? Like, that's a HIPAA violation for any business.
yeah, that garage was like pretty much, I think the only thing in there was the files. It was like box after box after box,
Like this
stacked
huge,
everywhere.
massive pile of, like, tons of them. And I just don't understand how they could leave that behind.
There was like expense stuff. Looks like probably like tax information and stuff was in there, and employee stuff, and probably patient stuff. That was pretty crazy. Philip, what did you think of the garage?
Yeah, I can't believe they didn't like dispose of all that stuff. Just left it.
I would have at least thought you would have shredded it or burned it or something.
Yeah. Yeah. This is a terrible podcast because we don't have any of our questions that we normally ask.
Well, I can say one thing. I am fascinated with that rest home elderly care center, because in the old schools that we've been in, I mean, like, nature's taken back its own, and this building has been empty since 2016 at least, and nature has not taken it back. Like, there's some rodent droppings, but like the mold, all I saw was a little bit in the basement. There's no trees growing, no moss growing, you know. Like, I mean, yeah, the ceiling in the upstairs is maybe caving in a little bit, but otherwise, nature's not taken back anything. Like, the vines aren't growing into the windows yet, trees aren't sprouting anywhere. That was kind of interesting.
Yeah, that was interesting. Like, there was some damage to the building, like Bonnie said, the roof on the second floor. There was glass on the window going up to the stairs. Most of that glass had been broken and was like, it was crunching under your feet as you were going up the stairs. There was a window in one of the rooms on the first floor that was broken, at least one, because when me and Philip and our niece Katie we just went to the one door and it just pulled right open. We walked right in, and then like we stopped because we heard a noise to our right, and we thought somebody else was in there. And Bonnie had gone around to the front to take pictures, and she was falling down the stairs or whatever. She was playing around in the grass. I don't know what she was doing.
The weeds tripped me from the brush that was around the building. I tripped over the weeds and fell down.
And so when we walked in and we heard that noise, we were like, what? And so we went to look, and it was just like glass had been broken from the window, and it was blowing in the breeze. Like the mini blinds or something was like blowing and making a little bit of noise or something. But yeah, it hadn't been tagged really, so that's one of the reasons why we don't want to disclose the location, because we don't want it to be tagged. Like, there's no reason to do that kind of stuff to a building. That's one of the important things about what we do, is we don't want to go somewhere and damage it. We kind of want to respect the property, even though it's owned by the state or whatever now. You kind of need to respect it and leave it as is.
I know someone who went there after us, and they were only there like a half an hour, and the sheriff came and made them leave.
Yeah, we didn't have any problems with
their
that.
IDs, for their IDs and what they were doing there, and, you know, took their names down and said they could be taken to court because they were trespassing.
Yeah, we didn't have that happen to us. We were there for maybe like an hour.
But there were no signs for trespassing.
Yeah.
Or keep out or anything like that. A private property. It didn't say that.
We was there for over an hour.
Yeah. And we were wandering around outside. We did kind of duck behind the trees when cars come down the country road. But, I mean, I don't know.
When we first went up, though, I was standing right on the highway taking pictures of the building, and then I went straight to the front door. So anybody who lived across the street in that house could have seen me.
Yeah.
Easy as day. I'm not a small person to miss.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Just our lucky day, I guess.
Yeah.
We didn't actually park at the location.
Yeah, we parked.
We parked somewhere else and walked to the location.
Yeah, down the street a little ways. Yeah, that's one of the things with exploring abandoned places is that you take a chance. You could get the cops called on you. You maybe could get in trouble. It's a chance you gotta take. And so far we've been fairly lucky, but we don't, like I said, we don't damage anything. So, I mean, if you would damage something to get in and then the cops come, then you could get in serious trouble. Which is important, to not damage stuff and not take anything. Let's see. So we talked about the kitchen with the knives. There was a lot of, like pots and pans and stuff left in the kitchen.
They really left everything.
Yeah. Let's see. So, you guys are not helping out any either. Philip, you've been into several abandoned houses and buildings. Did you think this was one of the best places, abandoned places you've been to?
Yeah, I think that one was really cool. It was just a lot of interesting stuff to see.
Yeah. I think this might have been my favorite place that we went to, just because of everything that was there. I mean, like, it was just so cool seeing all that stuff left behind.
It is different when you go into a building that has nothing left behind, and you're exploring and looking around, and then you come up on a building that has a lot of stuff left behind.
Yeah.
Like, there is a big difference, and then you're like, wow, that's, so amazing, so cool.
Let's see. So I asked what your favorite room was. What was your favorite thing that you found inside, Bonnie? That was left behind?
My favorite thing, I think it was just all the craft supplies. Like, I don't know, there was like a whole table full of records and craft supplies, and I don't know what else was on the table. There was so much on the table.
Philip, what was your favorite thing that we found left behind?
Like how I said, they left everything. I mean, in the basement they had Christmas decorations, all that kind of stuff, holiday decorations, and a room full of nothing but wheelchairs and stuff.
I think, remember that one, it was like a patient room, and it had, unlike their table that would be, the table that you put across the bed, or was it was on a desk, wasn't it, where they had like the teeth and like a pill bottle and like needles and stuff laying there? Yeah, that was kind of cool, because like you don't see that every day. That was really neat for me. One of my favorite things that I saw there. Let's see. Yeah, we're really horrible at this.
The left behind was interesting as well. Like that stuff is expensive anyways. And then to leave it behind and not, like, if you had another facility, which I know that they did, why wouldn't you take it to another facility?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't you transfer it to another facility instead of wasting it and leaving it behind? Either dispose of it or take it with you.
Yeah, so the people who owned this particular nursing home that we went to, they did own a second one in another small town. It did close as well, and it sold. It's now like an apartment. Wasn't it an apartment building that we went by?
It's an apartment building
it's
now.
an apartment building now. So we didn't obviously go in that one, and we don't know when that one closed because we didn't really do research on that one. We specifically did research on the one that we went into. So, I mean, that one could have been open longer, or they could have lost it at the same time. We don't really know the details details on that one. But yeah, they could have, like, disposed of it or something, you know?
I mean, there are ways. I work in a pharmacy, and we have this stuff that dissolves the medicine. Like, if you have controls left over, you put this little packet of stuff in it, you add some water, and it kind of dissolves it and makes it this gel, and you can just throw it to the trash. People can't use it. It doesn't hurt anything.
Yeah.
So, you had to have been able to do something like that with that medicine instead of just leaving it laying.
Right.
I'm surprised they did leave all that stuff, because usually you can get in trouble for that kind of stuff nowadays.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I found interesting, I mean, I know in some buildings, vacant buildings, you can find vagrants. There was no evidence of a homeless person or vagrant having at any time inhabited this location. Like, nobody spending the night there. There was nobody who actually, like, we went to an abandoned motel at one point, and you could tell that there had been people partying there and sleeping there. But at this location, at this rest home, there was nobody.
Yeah, because a lot of times in abandoned places, you'll find, like, a mattress laying in the corner, and you'll see all kinds of, like, trash laying around where they drank stuff and ate stuff and just left it lay. And there was none of that. I mean, there was a lot of stuff laying around, but it was stuff that had been at the nursing home, which you can tell pretty clearly that it's not trash by looking at it. You can tell that it was stuff that had been there.
So I was kind of surprised that there was no vagrants, no homeless people. I mean, I know it's in the country, but still, I'm sure that there's still things that are clear out in the middle of nowhere where there's a vagrant or a homeless person that stumbles across it and decides to sleep. And there was no evidence of any at this location.
Right. That would be a good location, too, for someone to sleep in, because it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's in really good condition. The nursing home itself is. The rooms are in good shape. There wasn't a whole lot of broken windows. So, I mean, that would be a good location for a homeless person. Plus, you got blankets and, you got lots of blankets and pillows to choose from. I think there was even towels and,
plenty of beds to choose from.
Yeah. You know, one of the things we didn't do when we were there was try the water faucet to see if the water worked, and flip the electrical outlets, the light switches, and see if they worked. I mean, some people tried the toilets, but we'll just not talk about that.
Yeah, we'll just not talk about that.
We'll skip the toilets, because, animals, we didn't find any. Like, you would almost expect there to be, like, an animal in there with the window being broken or something, but the only thing we found was a little bat in the basement that was hanging from the ceiling. Remember that little guy?
Yeah.
And the doors weren't exactly all closed, on the other sides of the building.
My favorite meat factory.
And there wasn't that many,
That's really overgrown right now.
there wasn't that many rodent droppings around like I would have expected.
Yeah.
There was some, but not as much as I expected.
I wish we could have found, like another bat or something. There was just the one. We only found one bat.
I'm sure it was probably more than that, but...
Yeah, we weren't really looking. That one was just in an obvious location. Let's see. So the upstairs, that was where mostly offices were. The desks, a lot of the desks were knocked over. There was a lot of paperwork scattered on the floor on the floors in the offices.
The only other thing upstairs that I saw was a nice bathroom with a shower.
What color was that tub? Wasn't it blue?
I think so, yeah.
That was a nice bathtub.
So I'm gonna guess if the doctors or nurses stayed there, maybe that was like their little apartment kind of.
Whoever owned it might have lived there.
Yeah.
The lady that
be as
ran
well.
it.
The upstairs wasn't as big. It didn't go the whole length of the building.
I don't think they had like patient rooms upstairs.
Yeah. It just looked like there was a couple of offices up there, and then the bathroom, maybe like 3 offices in the bathroom. Now the basement, it went the whole length of the building. That was a really big basement.
That was. And they had the laundry there as well.
Yeah, they had the laundry room. Was there washers and dryers? Because I don't even remember if I paid attention to that. Did anybody remember?
I don't remember seeing any.
Huh.
I don't remember seeing any.
Huh.
But there would have had to have been. They'd have to wash their bedding somehow.
Yeah.
But I know, like, in the pantry down there, there's freezers and refrigerators and all that stuff still there, though.
And of course, we did open them, and there was no food in it, and it didn't stink.
Thankfully, it didn't stink, because usually they smell bad.
Yes.
The one had "help me" written on it.
I've seen other explorers who went in and they opened the refrigerator, and that's always the bad thing to do. But this was not bad.
Let's see.
I'm out of.
We are horrible at this. Oh my gosh. So we've been to this location once. We've seen the whole entire place. We know that people who've gone after us has gotten stopped by the cops for being in there. Would you ever go back to this particular location?
Yeah, I would.
Yes.
Really? I'm kind of like one and done with it. Like, you know, we've seen everything. There's nothing new. The only thing that's going to be changed is people might take stuff, and maybe if it's still there in a few years, go back and see if nature took over, but...
I feel like the other people that went and had the cops called on them, their mistake was parking in the driveway at the facility.
Right.
Where we parked down the road and walked up. I think that was their mistake.
So we had been plotting this for a long time. We were like, let's park by the river, across the bridge. And we were like, if we could get across the river without going along the road and sneak up that way. That was our original thinking of going in, but we obviously didn't do that. We just went straight through the front door.
I
down the country road.
Sneak. I went straight to the front door, of course.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get in it because it was painted shut or whatever, but locked.
Yeah.
While everybody else went around the back, I just tried the front direct route.
Yeah, there were some doors that were, you know, some of the entrances that were still locked. But
I figured if I'm going to get caught, I might as well take a chance.
let's see. Y'all ain't got nothing else to say.
Nope.
We can't even compare and contrast this to any other nursing home because we haven't been in any other nursing home. I think those are kind of rare to find nursing homes to go into. There is supposed to be another one in southern Ohio, but we haven't made it that far yet.
They're hard to come by.
Yeah.
I mean, the ones that I know that used to be in certain locations, they've been torn down, and Walmarts and shopping complexes and restaurants have been built on the location. So
yeah. And finding one that actually looks interesting too. What was it about this one that, when you first saw it, made you want to go in, Bonnie?
I think it was the fact that it was in the country, and it was just kind of cute looking. I don't know.
Yeah, it was small and quaint looking. Philip, what was it about you? Because you didn't know it was there either. I drove by and showed you it one day.
Yeah.
What made you want to go in that one?
I just like going in abandoned places.
The curiosity gets us every time.
Yeah.
We're always curious about stuff.
Too curious sometimes, I think.
Yeah. Let's see. I was trying to remember some of the other rooms in the facility.
I don't really remember any of
There were a lot of patient rooms. There was like a nurse's station room. What room was that off of the community type room? Like the sunroom that had the boxes with the pictures. That wasn't a patient room. That was more like a storage room, wasn't
I don't know what room that was.
Maybe either storage or maybe like a sunroom where they sat
Yeah.
people, like to
patients didn't take their stuff with them because they were given 30 days. So they knew they had to get out. Like, if you were a patient there, wouldn't you were being transferred to another facility, I'm assuming, wouldn't you have wanted your stuff to go with you?
I would think so.
Yeah, I don't think so.
It's kind of odd that, like, patients, because those were pictures that belonged to patients. And, like, with their checkbooks and stuff that were left on the second floor, you would think their family would have been like, hey, where's my checkbook? Because, I mean, it closed in 2016. That wasn't that long ago.
There's even some of the residents' IDs and things.
Right.
All kinds of weird things that you wouldn't think they would leave behind.
Yeah, you wouldn't think the patients and their families would be like, oh, it's not a big deal. Who cares about their checkbook? We don't have it. We don't have their ID. It's okay. We don't need it. Like, you would think that's a necessity that they would have been asking for. Maybe that's an important note to remember if you're ever going to a nursing home. Make sure your family gets your checkbooks, your IDs, and your personal belongings, and to make sure that it isn't left behind. Because, I mean, seriously though, like, there's a lot of stuff that was left behind that families should have taken.
Those in our house now.
Did we find any clothes left behind?
I don't
remember.
guys saw any clothes.
Did we open any of the dressers?
I opened some in a room I went in, and I didn't see anything left, like clothes or anything like that.
I'm kind of disappointed because I don't think I opened any of the dressers. I mean, I opened some of the... Philip, I think, was opening more of the cupboards than anybody else. Philip and Katie. They were, like, trying every door and stuff.
Well, that was our first, abandoned place. We know
Yeah.
better now.
We know better now to try to turn the lights on and off on people and try to spook them. Okay, so... You guys are not very talkative on this podcast.
It'll be okay.
Bonnie and I did do videos. I have 2 YouTube videos on this, so if you want to see what it looked like, you can watch my YouTube videos on Naomi's Adventures. Bonnie, how many videos did you do?
I just did one, and I have not put it to live yet, so I have
Yours is
not
not.
shared it to public.
Okay, so yours is
I
soon
need to edit
to...
it before I set it to the view.
Yours is
So
soon to be released.
I can release it, and not this Saturday, but next Saturday.
So that would be like August 3rd-ish, or the weekend of August 7th. She'll be releasing hers on the weekend of August 7th. So,
You can do editing.
one important thing we would like to say about this place, if you happen to know the location that we're speaking of, please do not tell people about it. We don't want it damaged. We don't want it destroyed. Like, if you see our YouTube videos, please do not comment with the location, because we don't want to see it destroyed. If you know it and you want to go, that's perfectly fine. But we don't want to have anything to do with it being damaged or destroyed, because that is not what we are about.
Yeah. Definitely don't destroy it if you know where it is.
If you go there, don't destroy it, please. We do have pictures that we posted on YouTube, or not YouTube. We have pictures that we posted on our Facebook and our Instagram of the building. That's been a while ago. When did we go? We went back in... It was around the time Katie came to stay with us, so...
Beginning of the year?
January, February.
Yeah.
So you could always go look on our Instagram and Facebook from back then. And I think we probably did put that it was from an abandoned nursing home.
Well, I do have an Exploring with Bonnie Facebook page. I could probably post some pictures on that we just started. So I could probably post pictures on there that people could see.
What's your one big takeaway from going to this place, Bonnie? Do you have anything at all?
That's memorable, or
Yeah.
just everything is. I mean, like, it's gonna leave a lasting impression since it was my first abandoned location, actual abandoned. But yeah, it's definitely gonna leave the impression that I definitely want to make sure, like, when my dad, if he ever has to go in a rest home, that his stuff is definitely brought home, not left behind. Anybody can steal their identity or his identity, and that's not a cool thing.
Philip, do you have a takeaway, memorable thing?
I guess it would just be how they just left everything behind. It's amazing to see everything that they left.
My memorable, lasting impression will be the knives in the kitchen cupboards, sticking out of the kitchen cupboards. Yeah, that'll be my lasting memory, because I'll never forget that. Like, it was horror movie-ish, even though it wasn't haunted or anything like that. It'd be something like out of a horror movie, honestly.
It wasn't just little steak knives either. It was
Butcher knives.
Butcher knives, like a meat cleaver.
Now, you know what we should have done with those butcher knives? Some of them that were laying on the floor, we should have dripped like a little bit of blood to make it look like somebody had been stabbed there. Because that would have been kind of funny for the person that goes in next. But enough of that. Bonnie, can you summarize your visit in one word?
fantastic.
Philip, can you summarize your visit in one word?
Exciting, I guess.
I would say amazing. My word would be amazing. Alright, so I guess we're going to end the podcast here. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I can't say that. To the podcast. Like, subscribe, and share to Exploring with Bonnie on YouTube and Naomi's Adventures on YouTube. And we will be putting out another podcast next Sunday. We always do them on Sundays. You can listen on Podbean, Podbelly, Podcast Addict. It's on Spotify. We're working on a YouTube channel. We're working on a YouTube channel. We're working on a website. And we have a Facebook page under Bonnie's Facebook. So, check them all out. We appreciate that. Have a great week. Talk to you next week.